Hi, I'm Bernice, and this is my grandmother, Bernice Mcinnis, and it's the 2nd of June 2010, and I'm going to ask you some questions about your life.
Okay.
So, where were you born?
I was born in Bernice at the home of my parents. There was no such thing as going to the hospital then.
Yes,
we were born
of
at
course.
home.
And where did you go to school?
I started school in Bernice North. I went there till grade 8. Then when we passed grade 8, I went to St. Mary's Convent in Surrey for high school. And it was only then grades 9, 10 and 11. And when I was through with high school, I went to the Notre Dame Convent in Charlottetown and boarded there and went to Prince of Wales College where I got my teacher's license.
And did you start teaching right after that?
I came home, yes. I started teaching in Selkirk at, it was 1949. And I started teaching on my 18th birthday.
18th birthday.
I taught in Selkirk for 2 years, and I traveled on the train from home. Our house was right next to the station in Bernice, and Selkirk School was right next to the station in Selkirk.
So how long were you a teacher for?
In Selkirk?
Yes.
I taught 2 years in Selkirk, and then the next year I went to Bernice North. And I only taught till April in Bernice North. I then joined the Air Force.
And what did you do in the Air Forces?
I was a fighter control operator.
And what did that job entail?
We watched on, we had headphones, and we listened, and we had when a plane went over where we were, we had to find out what it was and where it was going. And
so where were you stationed?
I started out in Ontario. From there we went to Quebec. I was in Quebec for 2.5 years, and I finished up in Halifax, Beaverbank.
So how long did that go on for?
I was in 3 years.
3 years? So what did you do after the Armed Forces?
When I came home then, I went to teach. The next year I taught in the convent in Surrey, grade 3 and 4.
So...
And then after that, I went to, where did I go? Oh, we were married then, and I started, first 3 years we were married, I just stayed home, and then I started back to teaching school in 1963, I think.
Who were you married to?
Mcinnis from Selkirk.
And how did you guys meet?
When I was traveling on the train, he was the mailman, and he came down every evening to the train to the station to pick up the mail.
Do you have any other interesting train stories?
Oh, I forgot about the one when we got electricity in Bernice. It was in 1950, I think, and the evening when we were coming home, it was just before Christmas, so it was dark. And when the train came out of the woods, they saw all the lights at the crossing, and they blew the horn all the way down to the station.
Did you guys get any special treatment when you were in the Armed Forces?
Such as?
At the trains or people?
Oh, well, when we went in, at that time, hitchhiking was a big thing. If we wanted to go somewhere, we left camp and hitchhiked. If we had our uniform on, we had no trouble getting the drive.
Is there anything interesting places that you went?
Yes, the first trip we went down to, upper New York from Clinton, Ontario. That's where I was stationed. And the car that picked us up was the grandson of the famous Woolworth store. And he drove us up and showed us it was in a little town in Vermont. And he showed us the original Woolworth store.
Woolworth?
Woolworths.
Woolworths.
It used to be a big store in Charlottetown just a few years ago. You wouldn't remember it.
Yeah, that's quite a tongue twister. Yeah.
Woolworths.
So what did you do after you took a few years off to be with your children? After you got married, what did you do after that?
I went back, I taught in Selkirk, where I was living.
Yes.
I taught there from 1968 to 1972 when we moved to Fortune.
So
we went to school in Fortune.
Yes.
I didn't move, we went to school in Fortune. And I was there till I retired in 1989.
So what did you do after 1989?
I was home,
You're home?
not doing too much.
Yes. So
Didn't
can
go traveling.
you mentioned that you lived in the convent. What was convent life like?
I enjoyed it.
You
It was
enjoyed
all
it?
girls, and we had a good time. We had to do a lot of studying, and we had little jobs that we had to do. We were up early in the morning, and we were in bed by 9 o'clock at night.
Do you remember, tell me about the days. Do you remember any of the wars, world wars?
No, when the Second World War was over, actually, the year that the Second World War was over was the year I went to the convent in 1945, and my youngest sister Anne was born then when I was in the convent. She was born in November, but they wouldn't let me home to see her until Christmas.
Oh, Aunt Anne.
So I didn't see her for, she was 2 months old before I saw her.
Okay. So how did you get your license?
Oh, the year I was 16, I was at home, because it was in the summertime, so I wasn't in the convent. And my father wasn't that well, and we had to go out to Rollaway, the end of the Rollaway Sparrow Road, to pick up the mail off of the bus. And my father wasn't feeling, so one day there was a Mountie came up in the yard. We had the post office, and he was in the post office. It was some business, I don't know what it was about, they wouldn't tell us. But anyway, when he was coming out, I happened to be at the clothesline, and my father said, "Come here, do you want your license?" And I didn't do much driving, but anyway, the man came, he said, "I'll give you your license." He said, "Come on, let's go." We got in the car and we went down the road about a mile, and he said, "This next lane, we'll turn there." And I knew there was a gate there, so I didn't want to turn, and there was a cream cake. I said, "I don't think there's enough room for me to turn." He started to laugh. He said, "Yeah, there's lots of room." So I turned him back there. I got along all right. Anyway, on the way home, that was my license. On the way home, he said, "Now, if you can get back to the post office without killing somebody, I'll give you your license."
That's a great
And
story.
he wrote it out in the yard and gave it to
Yeah.
me. But then when I went in the Air Force, I was away 3 years, so I had to get another license when I got home. I didn't get it from home, so I had to go to Surrey to get it.
So I think that's about it.
That's about it.
That sums up your life story. Is there any important details?
Well, after we got married, we had 6 kids,
Yeah.
and now I have, how many grandchildren?
I don't know.
I think it's 12.
12, and you have one
One great-grandchild and expecting another great-grandchild.
Yes.
So that's my life history.
Yes. Hey, well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I don't think she's gonna watch this. Hi, Miss McGregor. I don't like hugs.
I knew that. Shouldn't have tried it.